Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. We got new expansion. I didn't cover it too much because at BlizzCon I was really busy with streams. I was playing a lot of the Battleground stuff, and honestly, it wasn't a quick video that I could just make. Unlike every other expansion where they basically give us 3 cards and have us wait 2 weeks until we see more cards, they gave us roughly 40 cards. So this is going to be quite a challenge to review in a timely manner, especially because we still don't have that much of the expansion. We have pretty much more sizable part than normal, but we don't know what it's all going to look like. So we can't really say how good each of the cards are going to be. Just an impression, but it's going to be my impression on about 40 cards. So sit right in and listen. There's going to be some really cool stuff here. Now, Descent of Dragons has a lot of overpowered cards. Because it's the last expansion of the year. That's kind of how they do things. And because it's the last expansion, because it has really powerful cards, it is going to dictate very much what we're going to be playing in the next, let's say, 8 months of Hearthstone. So if you like the cards you see, well, you're probably going to see quite a bit of them. The whole expansion has to do with dragons. There's a bunch of dragons for the good guys, and there's a bunch of dragons for the bad guys. The bad guys, they're trying to, let's say, invoke Galakrond. Galakrond is like the biggest, baddest dragon that ever was, the first and whatever, and the greatest. Yeah. He's awesome, basically, but he's kind of a bad guy. Now, Galakrond can be invoked. You kind of like summon him, let's say. And these are actually new keywords and new mechanics. Galakrond is not 1 card, but it is 5. He is going to be 5 class legendaries, 5 class legendary hero cards, in fact, that are also dynamic, that also everyone gets for free. That's right. It's kind of like the Cthulhu and Old Gods, but actually very different. You just get them for free. That part is the same, and some cards are connected to them. I guess that part is the same as well. So let's look at one version here. So this is Priest Galakrond. The classes that have Galakrond are basically the classes that currently have lackeys. 5 classes have lackeys right now. They're the evil ones. And 4 dudes don't have lackeys, and those guys are basically represented by Leave Explorers and the good guys, let's say, of the expansion. Priest Galakrond. So if you never invoke him, and we'll talk about what that is in a moment, if you never invoke Galakrond, well, he's basically a 7-cost hero. Battlecry, destroy a random enemy minion, and you invoke twice. If you invoke twice, his Battlecry is twice as good. You add 1 more. Now, if you invoke another 2 times, so 4 total invokes, you get the fully upgraded Priest Galakrond card. And this is destroy 4 random minions, and you get a 5/2 weapon. This works the same in all the other Galakronds, so you get a 1 of effect on the first stage, a 2 of effect on the second stage, and the 4 of that same effect on the third stage, as well as the 5/2 weapon. All of these classes are going to get these 5/2 weapons, which means weapon removal is going to be awesome, by the way, because as you know, priests don't have weapons right now. These guys also have unique hero powers. I believe the priest one is to add a random priest minion to your hand. Not all that great, but honestly, I think you mostly use this card as a massive tempo push when you first play it, and then you generate value in the late game. It works out just fine. Now, there's going to be some invoke, and we can see the first priest invoke card here, Time Rip. Destroy a minion, invoke Galakrond. So what is this? What is invoking? So invoking basically reveals the Galakrond in your deck. You have to actually have Galakrond in your deck. It's not like the mythical storage bin of where Cthulhu might be, and then if you generate him later, he's actually buffed. No. He actually has to be in your deck. Okay, so it invokes him in your deck or your hand, or if he's in play, I suppose. And invoking triggers the hero power. So when you're playing Priest and you have a Priest Galakrond in your deck, invoke is get a random Priest minion. Okay. Now, if you're not Priest, if you're one of the other evil Galakrond bros, you're going to get a different effect from the invoke keyword. And we'll talk about those in a moment. So 5, destroy a dude, invoke Galakrond. That's going to be a 2-for-1 every time, a powerful 2-for-1, and it's synergized with Galakrond. It's a pretty obvious inclusion if you're playing Galakrond, in my opinion. How good is that going to be overall? Looks like it's going to be pretty good. Fate Weaver is another priest card. 4 cost 3/6 is always premium. It's a dragon. There's lots of dragons. There's some dragon synergy, so that's probably quite relevant. If you've invoked twice, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. Wow, super OP. But how often have you invoked twice before turn 4? I don't know yet, because we haven't seen all of the cards in the set. Maybe that's really easy to do, and if that's really easy to do, this is going to be a super broken card. And if it's kind of hard to do, it'll be kind of a good card, but you'll still play it in this type of deck. Lots to see, as I mentioned. There's a lot left to see in this expansion. Rogue is getting a Galakron, Galakron the Nightmare. So draw 1 card, it costs 0. Invoke twice to upgrade. Same thing, draw 2 cards. And the final stage, as you can see here, is draw 4 cards. They cost 0, and you get a 5/2 weapon, and you get 5 armor, and it costs 7. So basically the card is totally crazy. Like, Rogue is Sprint. Draw 4 cards that you have to pay mana for. What? That's a big difference. You get armor, you get the weapon on top of that, you get the invokes. The new hero power for the Rogue Galakron is to get a random lackey, which is really good, by the way. Lackey are kind of like 2 mana cards, so you kind of get 2 mana card for 2 mana hero power. It's a really good hero power. And you get to see kind of how invoke works through one of their card art. So obviously, Rogue Galakron is completely insane, and we'll probably see some form of control rogue as a result, because it's just that good. Now, Seal Fate is a rogue card. Deal 3 damage to an undamaged character, and you invoke Galakron. So 3 damage to undamaged for 3. That's a lot to pay, because rogue is typically much more efficient with removal. But if you're playing a control rogue, mana efficiency starts to be a lot less of a factor in how good of a card is. You can see kind of how it invokes, and you can see the rogue Galakron there. So you get a lackey as well. So getting a lackey, that's not nothing. I mean, warlocks have a 1 mana card. This card you need to draw to get a lackey, and that card's pretty good as well. That's kind of like 2 mana. Seal of Fate, very, very well budgeted for its mana cost, in fact. More rogue cards. We have Dragon's Horde. Discover a legendary minion from another class. That could be very good. Most class legendaries are quite a bit stronger than neutral legendaries. And speaking of legendaries, well, everyone's getting dragons. Why not rogue? Waxadread, 5 cost, 7/5 dragon, and when it dies, it shuffles a candle into your opponent's deck, and when you draw it, it resummons this guy. Now, I don't believe it's like the dormant thing, so it doesn't just sit on the board, and if you copy it, it's super broken. I think he literally basically shuffles kind of like his own card in your opponent's deck, which means that when your opponent draws the Waxadread card, you need to not have 7 minions on the board. So it's a little bit tricky. I think this card looks better than it actually is, but I think it's still a pretty decent card. Candle Breath, 6 cost, draw 3, cost 3 while you're holding a dragon. Well, draw 3 for 3, that's superb. Card draw is very good. Typically in a control deck, you don't want too much card draw, but Rogue is traditionally played aggressively, so you have a lot of finishers, so maybe you can play a draw-heavy control Rogue. Could be really cool. Praise Galakron, woo! 1 cost, give a minion +1 attack. Sounds terrible. But you invoke Galakron, which is a lackey. So it's 1 mana, you get a random lackey, and you don't get to discover the lackey like you do in the Warlock card, but you get 1 attack. So that's not bad. Plus, you're probably going to want to invoke as much as possible if you're playing a Galakron deck, so it's probably just fine. The last Galakron that we get to see in this first batch of a whole lot of cards is the Warlock one. The Warlock Galakron, the hero power for the Warlock Galakron is you get 2 1/1 imps in play. So it just floods the board constantly. That's pretty good, I'd say. They all cost 7. They all give you 5 armor. Battlecry summons. It doesn't go to your hand. It goes on the board. Random demon. We don't know just how good that is because there's still a lot of expansion left. But some of the demons in the game are pretty good, I suppose, so far. And then, yeah, if you upgrade it once, if you invoke twice, you get another demon, you get 2 demons. And if you basically go all the way, that's what you get. 4 random demons and the 5/2 weapon. So, it might look confusing at start, but there's a lot of similarities between these. I think once we start playing a few games, we'll pick it up pretty quickly. Is that good? Yeah, of course it's pretty good. They're basing the whole expansion off these cards. It's an end-of-year expansion. We're not really going to have to use our imagination if Galakron hero cards are going to be good. Of course they're going to be good. If you want to invoke more, Warlock, invoke Galakron, give your minions +1 attack, all of them, and you're going to have a lot of minions. You're actually going to get minions off playing this card. This card, at the very worst, is 3 mana, you get 2 2/1s. It's actually okay. Worst case, okay. 3 cost, 1/1. Battlecry, invoke Galakron, gain 1 attack for each other friendly minion. That's pretty good. That's going to be a really annoying card to deal with, but it doesn't have a lot of health, so maybe this one won't be played, but I imagine all Galakron cards are going to be played, honestly, so probably quite good even. And if you've invoked twice, you draw 3 cards. 4 cost, 5/4. Absolutely crazy. Warrior will eventually be one of the evil classes. We don't have the Galakron card yet, but we do have Deathwing. It costs 12 dragon. When I first saw this, I'm like, oh my god. Warriors just get a discounted Deathwing that you don't discard your hand for? It seems broken. Well, not quite. He attacks the other minions. That's very different because Deathwing, when he attacks the other minions in order to kill them, he takes damage himself. Now, that's still a pretty effective board clear, and if your opponent hasn't played enough stuff, it threatens 12 damage on the board. So it's a board clear, and it's a high value card, and it can be a high tempo card in Warrior. Control Warriors have always been a thing, so I imagine this card is going to be quite played and very good. Molten Breath, deal 5 to a minion if you're holding a dragon, gain 5 armor. Pretty good. You can't do face, so it's not quite Fireball tier, but if you're playing Controlled Dragon Warrior, why not? Shaman is also evil, but Blizzard was evil in this case because they gave us no Shaman cards except for Lightning Breath. We have no idea what Shaman will do. Deal 4 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, also damage its neighbors. Very strong, I suppose, but let's see the dragons, Blizzard. Now, the next round of cards is going to be basically the good guys, the League of Explorers. So the good guy starts with Mage, and Mage gets Malygos aspect of magic. It's a 5-cost 2/8, very interesting stat lines. If you're holding a dragon, you discover an upgraded Mage spell. Now, there's probably going to be a lot of upgraded Mage spells because, well, they're all different. This card probably put a lot of devs to work for a long time. As an example, Malygos' Flame Strike deals 8. Wow, look at that. Some of the cards have much stronger effects. Some have substantial mana discounts. I imagine there's going to be quite a lot of spells and some that we've yet to see. Also, among the League of Explorers, we get side quests. They're like quests, but they don't start in your opening hand. The Mage one that we got to see is spend 8 mana on spells. Very easy to do. Summon a 6/6 dragon. So 1 mana, summon a 6/6 dragon later. Is that good? Of course it's good. These cards are really good. Now, you have to keep in mind, while these cards might look really overpowered, they are what the League of Explorers, the good guys, get instead of Galakron cards. So they kind of have to be really busted. But it also means that this is going to dictate the play for these other classes. You're not playing Galakron decks, but if you're playing Mage, to compete, you're going to need to play spells. Now, that might not be a big thing, but some of the other quests might require a bit more imagination. Another Mage card that we get is a Little Dragon as your Explorer. 4-cost 2/3 spell damage plus 2, discover a dragon on the battle cry. That's completely insane. Ysera is coming back for Druids. 9-cost 4/12, nice to keep it consistent, Blizzard, thank you for that. Battlecry, 7 dragon portals into your deck when drawn, summon a random dragon. We don't know what all the dragons are in the game, so I don't quite know how good that is, but it's probably really good. And another example of dragons, Druid's getting another one. 6-cost 4/8, dragon taunt, Battlecry, discover a dragon. Wow. Again, these cards look really busted, but these classes are not getting Galakron hero cards. And if you played Hearthstone in the last few years, you know just how strong those hero cards are. Breath of Dreams. 2-cost, draw card. If you're holding a dragon, gain an empty mana crystal. How about that? It's kind of like a pre-nerf Wildgrowth, but you gotta hold a dragon. Maybe that's not a big deal. Paladin's legendary is Nozdormu the Timeless. 4-cost 8/8. 4 mana 7/7 memes disappear when they see this card, and the battlecry sets each player's to 10 mana crystals. Unbelievable. Now, what I was thinking when I first saw this card, Paladins have a way to search for 3 mana for the lowest attack minion in the deck. Now, the issue is this is an 8/8. The good thing is you can play whatever cards you want if you have 10 mana on turn 4. So I actually think it's going to be a deck. I didn't see anyone talking about this. Maybe I missed it, but I believe we're going to see Big Paladin. Now, typically with these like almost memey, but actually pretty good big decks or big control decks, they typically don't out-meta the aggro. So I'm not saying this will be the best deck in the game, but I'm pretty sure this deck, the Big Paladin with searching for always turn 4 Nozdormu, I think that deck specifically, I think it's going to be pretty strong. I think it's probably going to be like a tier 2 type of deck. But more importantly, I think it's going to be loads of fun. Sand Breath, give minion +1/+2, give it Divine Shield if you're holding a dragon. Again, very, very overpowered cards, but again, they're not getting Galakron. Hunters, Dragon's Bane, 4-cost 3/5. After you use your hero power, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. Very OP. If your opponent has no minions, that's a kill command to the face. Yep, very good. Face Stalker, 2-cost 2/3 Beast. After you use a hero power, cast a secret from your deck. Wow. Dwarven Sharpshooter, 1-cost 1/3. Your hero power can target minions. Really good. You know what hunters like to play? 1-mana 1/3s with no abilities. How about this one? An ability, and a pretty good one sometimes. So obviously these cards are really good, but once again, the other classes get Galakron and hunters do not. Toxic Reinforcements is the quest, the side quest for hunters. You have to use your hero power 3 times, and the reward summons 3 1/1 leper gnomes. The quest to, give leprosy to your opponent with a slingshot. How about that? Hunters also getting some new dragons, Primordial Explorer, 3-cost 2/3 Poisonous, and the Battlecry Discover Another Dragon. Very good value card. If you're playing an aggro deck, it's still pretty good. Corrosive Breath, 3 damage to a minion if you got a dragon, also hits the enemy hero. Crazy to think we paid 5 mana for this once upon a time. Well, I did anyway, because I played Arena. If you played Constructed, you never paid 5 mana for this effect. We're talking about Cobra Shot, of course. For neutrals, we have Shield of Galakron, some invoke effects in the neutrals. That's pretty interesting. I hope we don't see too many neutral cards because not all the classes are getting Galakron, so that's kind of weird. But nevertheless, Shield of Galakron, 5-cost 4/5 Taunt, Battlecry Invoke. I imagine if you're playing Galakron, you want to invoke as much as possible, so it's probably still pretty good. Devoted Maniac, 4-cost 2/2 Rush. Battlecry Invoke Galakron. Invoking Galakron is typically like a 2-mana effect. This card might look really crappy, but it's pretty good, I would say. Previous Taunt's probably a lot better though, but honestly, I think a lot of the Galakron decks are just going to play just about every Invoke card they can get their hands on. Twin Tyrant is a new dragon, 8-cost 4/10. The Battlecry deals 4 damage to 2 random enemy minions. Now, this card is going to be absolutely game-breaking in Arena, but for Constructed, I don't really know. I think it's an 8-mana card with not powerful enough of an effect. Finally, the last card that they gave to us is Evasive Draconid, and it's a 7/7 for 7 with Taunt, and you can't target it. So, good stuff, but we're expecting good stuff. Last expansion of the year looks like a real hit. Hope you guys agree. Check in for more card reviews and come check in on the stream because we're streaming all day this week. See you guys in the next one.